Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and I have a very fascinating game for you played between Vladimir Kramnik and Veselin Topalov. This game was played in 2003 at Amber Blindfold tournament. This was a rapid game and Kramnik started the game with e4, c5 by Topalov. Topalov goes for Sicilian defense, knight f3, e6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight c6, knight c3, d6. Topalov is choosing the Scheveningen variation, bishop e3, knight f6, f4, a6, queen f3, queen c7, and white castles queenside. Kramnik is choosing a very sharp line, and this is going to be a very exciting game. Bishop d7, knight b3, rook c8, king b1, a very important prophylactic move when you are castling queenside. b5, Topalov is trying to organize a quick attack on the queenside. Bishop d3, knight b4, and here we go, g4, Kramnik will organize his attack on the king side. Bishop c6, g5, knight d7, and queen f2. Kramnik is taking under control this b6 square and is not allowing any possible knight b6 jumps. g6. Black wants to flank to his bishop, but it turns out that after this move, white is managing to gain a huge advantage. It was better to capture on d3 and then develop the bishop, but instead after queen f2, g6 was played. Now comes rook f1. Later this rook can support white queen on this f file. Bishop g7, f5, knight e5, bishop b6, queen d7. Still, it was not too late to capture on d3 and then play queen b8. But instead, after bishop b6, queen d7 was played. Now comes bishop e2, queen b7. Black is losing precious time. Meanwhile, white is intensifying the pressure. This time, knight a5, queen b8, and f6. Kramnik is also cornering the bishop and then is playing a3, after which it turns out that the knight on b4 is trapped. Topalov captured on c2, trying to get the maximum of this knight, and after king takes c2 he captured on e4, getting 2 pawns against the knight. King b3. Later this king can come on this safe a2 square, and right now the bishop on e4 is hanging. Bishop a8 was played, bishop a7. Another good idea is bringing the king on a safer square, but in the game we see bishop a7, queen c7, and queen b6. Though black has 2 pawns against a piece, but that's not enough. Also, black pieces are very passive, and actually white has a huge advantage. With his last move, Kramnik is offering an exchange of queens, and he wants to realize his advantage in the endgame. Queen takes b6, bishop takes b6, h6. Topalov is trying to somehow activate his rook. And here we go, knight takes b5, a very standard sacrifice in Sicilian defense. King d7. Well, if I move like a takes b5, then after bishop takes b5 check, black will face serious problems. If knight d7, then rook c1, and this is going to be very hard for black to find a good continuation. That's why after knight takes b5, king d7 was played, bishop d4, bishop d5 check, king a4. A few moves earlier I told you that the king will come on a2 square, but it turns out that the gods of chess have prepared a very interesting journey for white king. A takes b5 finally was played, bishop takes b5 check, bishop c6, and bishop takes e5, using the fact that the pawn on d6 is pinned. In return, black captured on b5, and after king takes b5, rook c5 check was played. Black is managing to win back his lost piece, rook takes e5. But actually, though the players have equal material on the board, but white has a winning position. Now comes rook c1, and already there are devastating mating threats. Rook takes a5 was played. Well, if we move like h takes g5, then white can give a check from c7 square, and then the rook can come and it's over simply. Let's just make a random move, then rook c8 check, and then rook c7 checkmate. or after rook c1, if you move like rook c5, trying to stop white rook from intruding black's camp, then this time white can exchange the rooks and then play rook d1 check. If bishop d6, then knight b7. Black is losing his bishop. In the game after rook c1, rook takes a5 was played, but instead of capturing on e5, Kramnik first announced a check from c7 square, and after king d8, he played another fantastic move, rook c1. He's not even paying attention to this hanging rook on a5 square, he's going for a mate. Right now white is threatening checkmate in 2. Rook c5, well, if rook a8, then king b7, the game is over. Rook c5 was played, rook takes c5, d takes c5, and king c6. White is now threatening rook a7 followed by rook a8 checkmate. Understanding that his position is hopeless, in this position Topalov resigned. But let's just have a look at one of the possible lines. For example, if black plays bishop d6, then white can simply capture on d6. If h takes g5, then again king c6. The idea is that if rook a7, then not allow black king to escape, and after king c6 it's over. White can play rook a7 and then rook a8 check and rook b8 checkmate. That's why, as I've already mentioned, after king c6 Topalov resigned. A very impressive game, I think. Let's not forget that this was a blindfold game, but the players demonstrated really high quality game, and Kramnik with a devastating king walk managed to finish up his opponent. Thanks for watching. Here are more suggestions for you. For more games, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will see you in the next video.